What is going on with y'all, man? In this video, I want to apply some ancient thought to modern times. Now, what is ancient? What do we refer to as ancient? I guess you could look at ancient as anything super old, hundreds of thousands of years to millions of years, depending on what historian, researcher, or internet podcaster, person, book, internet website you look into. You're gonna find millions of years. It was this date, it was this date. This different religion is gonna say this was the founder and it happened on this date and blah, blah, blah. Now, one thing I notice about life is that a lot of people is egoic and possessive and attached to what they believe in or just what they want to be true. I saw Tyler Oliveria go to Egypt to investigate the pyramids, and he asked, did aliens build it? And then they damn near got mad at him asking that, as a white man coming into they shit asking the aliens build it. Nah, nigga, our ancient motherfucking ancestors built it. But who the fuck can prove that? You get what I'm saying? And that's kind of where I be coming from with a lot of things these days, is like, what can really be proven other than what we know right now and other than natural law? Natural law is just a subset of the principles and laws of life. And I've studied that from a few different sources. So even me and my information be kind of tangled up. But right now I want to just apply all of the ancient thought, because it really does kind of come from one source, at least my information. You know, a Christian or a Buddhist or an Islamic person is going to get their information from a total different source with total different dates and a total different belief system. And ultimately, with this occult knowledge and, you know, how I come to y'all on the internet with the motive to free y'all mind, it's not about belief. You have to know. You have to know what you know. You have to know truth. You have to know thyself. You have to ultimately come to the agreements and understandings within self, because the first debate starts right up here in the conscious mind. The left brain being the masculine, the right brain being the feminine. So you got the creative, the passive, the harmonious, and then you got the logical, the database mind that is trying to think and talk. So yeah, those sides of you is gonna always be conflicted a little bit. And you know, when it comes down to studying Egyptian knowledge, Gnosticism, it basically draws examples from so many different walks of life, so many different ideologies and philosophies, specifically the Kabbalion, when it states that it's not here to create a new religion or any new philosophy. It's just to shed light on all of the existing religions, philosophies, and theologies. So here I am about to apply primarily the Kabbalion and then all of the Egyptian text, which is like translated millions and millions of times over by people modern day. So it's like people just have their bias. I heard a term called survivorship bias recently when I was researching simulation theory shit. But something called survivorship bias is what you see with a lot of astrology people. From my point of view, it's like they want to believe astrology is true. They want to believe that these stars and the sun sign has a super definite effect on your life to the point where it's almost determined. Now, that may be accurate, and I do believe that astrology has a very big effect on people, especially those that don't choose to control their mind. And I tell y'all why. Because from a Gnostic perspective, the astrology wheel, all of the stars and the planets are gods, in a sense, that control and have rule over this earth and rule over your motherfucking emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, what triggers you? Why are you this way? Why do you have a certain disposition? Why do you have a certain dislike, a certain pleasure preference, a certain social preference? You know what I'm saying? The Taurus is going to be, quote unquote, want to eat and lay around and be in the lower nature, attached to earth. A Leo is going to want to be fiery, passionate, always doing something, always energetic. Now that shit do seem to be the case. And then when you get into, you know, the moon sign and the sun sign, people are, and that's when people go with their nature. That's when they don't give a fuck about what other people are saying do. They don't give a fuck about what society is saying do. They go with their nature. They make a choice to be themselves. And then ourselves, our nature is encoded within us. We're souls having a human experience, born down onto this planet. So astrology, you know, it definitely has an effect. But the more that you either ignore it or worship it, then it controls you. As opposed to understanding the true Christ consciousness, the true understanding of the 13. I always talk about the middle point, and I usually mean it as like an emotional and mental balance with the things in life that flow, the ups and downs, yo. It's so fucking crazy, y'all. We survive every single bad day that we've ever had. You know, all of the emotion influxes, you know, you kind of feeling down because this ain't perfect. You want this to be better. You want this person to be acting different. But, you know, the shit just flows. But at the end of the day, you still here. It's like you're gonna go from happy and sad and angry all within a week. But then you once you get into a super happy state, or at least a productive state, like me right now in this moment, it damn near looks, I look at my life like, yo, it's so crazy how thoughts can just eat you up. Negative thoughts or just overthinking, and ultimately, yeah, you gotta weigh certain negatives. I do want to just put that shit out there, and that's kind of what we're gonna get into today. But once you do choose to just stop thinking and be in the present moment and either accept or create and produce instant alleviation from mental pressures that we all just put on ourselves. Society influences us and impacts us, and as does your astrology will. You know what I'm saying? Sagittarius gonna be fiery, want to talk. Maybe my grandmother's Sagittarius and she cuss a lot, but I fuck with Sagittarius. They are talkative, but they are self-assured, and I fuck with that about them, as opposed to other fire signs. And I ain't about to get into no motherfucking this, that, the other, because, well, actually a lot of people don't like Tauruses, and I'm a goddamn Taurus. But Taurus, we're talkative, but Taurus seems to get down to the facts when we talk. It's like we're very grounded in nature. It's encoded in us to just spill out truth, the laws of life. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm X, 19 Keys, Brother Panic, and motherfucking Charleston White is a goddamn Taurus. So, you know what I'm saying? When I put all of this into perspective, it makes a lot of sense as to why I am where I am, as to why other people are the way they are. Water signs are the other one that I feel is like very easily identifiable. People that are very sensual, very in tune with their feelings and emotions. And from my perspective as a stoic, down-to-earth Taurus, I look at that shit like, why would you expose that side of you to the world? But then it's almost my shadow side that don't realize that I'm do the same thing all the time. My sun sign, my rising sign is a water sign. So yeah, I am that way in many ways. And that's another example I want to make about projection. It's like when you questioning why another person wants to do this, when you questioning why they doing this or why they acting like this, you're ultimately just questioning and criticizing and thinking negatively about yourself. Because if you ask yourself the exact same question, you realize like, oh, I have a motive. Oh, I'm just like this person. Oh, I'm doing it because I want the same thing as they want. Oh, I have my own desire. And then, of course, that trickles down to the we're all vampires energy. Now, that perspective is really about balance. It's really about accepting your dark and your light, your good and your bad, your negative, your positive, your nice and your nasty. You know what I'm saying? And then not being afraid of it, because we got to defend ourselves. We got to motherfucking be here and protect ourselves on this planet. That's what the ego is. I primarily focus on how the ego is a mental construct, and it's the mind that it creates all of these things. But at the end of the day, it is simply only here to defend us as souls having a human experience. The ego is like the armor, the shield of this planet. And of course it comes out when you got to defend yourself against somebody physically. So yeah, the motherfucking ego, projection, all of those things, is like we're either negatively projecting or positively projecting. Just know that whenever you have a negative thought, it's either it's a negative projection on the outside world or on yourself. So it's very simple to just try to stop thinking negative thoughts. But at the same time, and I'm going to get to some shit in this video because it's all integrating within me right now. And that's another key word for the remainder of 2025, integration. So yeah, I mean, look at me, y'all. I'm out in nature. I ain't been a nature nigga in oh so long, but I'm going to be bringing mushroom vlogs to y'all soon. But I think this would be a really, really good video to just continuously lay foundation. And what is foundation, y'all? It's the base, it's the security, it's the root chakra. My channel is very grounded in what it is. My music, my rap, my videos, and where I'm at with this shit. Before I ever chose to try to quote unquote blow up, and the reason I haven't been on TikTok or y'all don't see me posting that much on Instagram is because it's about fine-tuning my knowledge, as I said in my last song. And I'm actually and it could have been sped up, you know, more focus, more lessening of distractions. I probably could have got to this point. a year ago. But, you know, it don't matter because we all got our social life. And I actually don't like thinking like that because I call it butterfly effect shit. It's like, oh, if I would have did this in the past, then maybe I would be here. Maybe I would be further. Maybe this would happen. Maybe this would be different. Maybe I wouldn't have did this with this person and this would happen. And da-da-da-da-da. It's ultimately avoiding accountability, and you're kind of just, for no reason, thinking about the past and things that you can't change. But again, the positive to thinking about the past, the positives to thinking about the negatives of life. It is shadow work. Ultimately, vampiric shadow work, if you asking me. Because you got to realize that, you know, whoever you may be, whatever your diet is, you eating something that is living on this planet for you to live. And that is a choice. You know, vegans always, I've heard vegan arguments that, I don't want to believe that the plants are living and the fruits, and I'm not killing fruit when I eat it. But if you leave a fruit out, don't it like die, expire, degrade? So you got to eat it before it goes quote unquote bad. Same thing as if you leave a fucking deer out on the road, it's going to go bad, and flies is going to go to that. And it's just a continuous cycle. So, you know, that's the game of life down here. And this shit has been laid out for many, many years. But in this current society, we're so manipulated in so many different ways. But so my reason in telling y'all all of this stuff, my reason in harping on that frequency that we're all vampires, is for you to just accept yourself and accept life. Accept other people and what they do, and sometimes don't even look at people. That's actually the best thing that I'm starting to realize. When you're in situations where, or Instagram, social media, whatever it is, and you just don't want to see a certain person because what their frequency does to your frequency. And it many times has a lot to do with conflict of interest and just a person being a certain type of vampire. That's why if y'all look at it from these angles and perspectives, you won't feel bad for protecting your peace. You won't feel bad for setting up boundaries. You won't feel bad for just letting other people, your family, friends, exes, relationship, old friends, just move on and do what they want to do, because we're all unique and different in our ways in which we go about life. We all need to feed the heart. We all need some type of energy, some type of, in most cases, modern day is validation, but, you know, and money. Most people need validation, money, and attention modern day, so they're going to get that in one way, shape, or form. But when you applying ancient thought to modern times, it's a certain level of acceptance. There's a certain level of acceptance. Because death is the only true escape from all of this physical incarnation. And a lot of people choose suicide. They go the route of committing suicide because life is just this much boxed in. It's this, yeah, y'all know it. And I don't even want to harp on suicide in this video because it's a lower vibration, but death is not real. You know what I'm saying? People that commit suicide either reincarnate immediately or go to the fucking great beyond or merge with the higher source. All of these theologies about where we come from, right? The demiurge and Gnosticism, that is a creation from the great mother Sophia. Sophia derived is from the word wisdom, and philosophy. Philosophy is just the pondering of all things thinkable and knowable. So modern day, what we call the great mother Sophia, up there in the aeons, you know, some is going to refer to these heavenly bodies and people as God, Allah, the Father, angels. But ultimately, if you ask me, it's just a spiritual substance, a spiritual source, a spiritual energy that we come from. But the demiurge, aka the creator of this world, was birthed in ignorance, at the very best, or incompetence, or downright evil. Or I was actually listening to something that said, like, I may have been that simulation video I mentioned, saying something about, is the purpose of life just whimsical? Is it just nothing? Is it just play? Because that is the ultimate questions. You know, I've listened to just like a few people very specifically over the past few years that it's encoded my brain with their perspective and information. But as I branch out modern day and just start to hear and listen to what other podcasters and people are saying, other researchers, it's like everybody has the same questions, especially when it comes down to the idea of simulation theory. I'm here to tell y'all that it's more so that than anything else. Because I can't even think about what the opposite of a simulation is, because I don't think much in life is unsimulated because of the laws of this game of life, the rules of this shit. Mentalism, Everything starts from your mind. You think it, you see it, boom, you bring it to your reality. You think it, and then boom, you feel it. You say that I am, then boom, I am. Let me just do that shit right now. I am in a good mood. I am free flowing. I am enjoying nature. I am happy. I am sharing the vibe with my loyal supporters. I fuck with y'all. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, that's that. And then vibration. Everything is vibrating. You know, the plants, the trees, animals, bugs. That is what we are doing here. Like, if y'all haven't read the Kabbalion, then it's like, you don't have to read it. You can search on YouTube to listen to the audiobook. But even that just kind of has you at a very like reset state. You know, I remember personally, actually my very first Shroom Trip video is when I promoted it to the world for the first time. And ever since then, it's like, yeah, no questions are really still answered. It's just light shed upon all of the questions. So that's why it doubles back to that perspective of your greatest debate starts with yourself as to what you believe life is, as to how you feel toward this game of life, how you feel toward the fact that you have to eat to survive, that we have all of these shadowy anger emotions and, you know, elixirs within us that are just triggered. You know, these glands that secrete fucking emotion. It's like this shit is scientifically and biologically broken down because I think people have a subconscious thing in their mind where they want to like value life. And I do too. Not even. I want to extract and get what I can from life. Do I value life? I value the experience and I value the people and the souls here. But what we call life right now, this physical incarnation and the cycles of it, it is what it is, man. It's like, I like it. I like my life, but a lot of people suffer. A lot of people live in very harsh living conditions. A lot of people is at war. A lot of people is at war for the sake of our peace and comfort here in America. And that's just because of the setup of this game. The rules, the mind control, how the governments and the higher ups get people to just do their bidding, to kill, steal, rob, rape, pillage, invade, blow up, target, and then they evade accountability from doing that. You know, and I mentioned in a few videos ago that all the observation of the Matrix just makes it real. You don't have to look at the news. You don't have to look at social media. You don't have to look at what's the most latest headline and who did this to who. Again, politics, y'all. It divides you. It divides you, y'all. It divides you. They call it politics for a reason. The law of polarity, of course, all things are dual. Everything has two sides. So if you're choosing a side, then you're automatically basically choosing to battle. And that's kind of where I was getting to in my last video as well. It's like I'm at a point where the only blockages that I had personally was because I was picking a side. Was because I had my own personal biases. But now I'm at this level where I see and benefit and accept the good and the bad, the nice and the ugly, the beauty and the ugly and everything. You know, this governmental system, like I got a car, nigga, I got money, you know what I'm saying? I could travel, go to the grocery store, I could do this, do that. I got fucking big American dreams that I'm gonna fulfill. And I'm in the midst of fulfilling in this land where you can just fulfill dreams because of free capital. You know what I'm saying? It's not too bad. But of course, a lot of people suffer here. People mostly suffer due to their ignorance. And that's a Roman axiom. For he who does not know, let him be deceived. So all the information is out here. If you choose to be ignorant to your surroundings, if you choose to be ignorant to life, if you choose to be ignorant to these certain ideas and ponderings of life, all of this work that I've been doing over the past 2 years is, the study is called ontology. I've been labeling it occult science and Gnostic study and this, that, the other, natural law, but it's really ontology. I'm being ontological right now. And it's pretty crazy that shit is a derivative, or logic, being logical is a derivative from ontological. Ontological just refers to all things, all questions about the nature of existence. So I was hearing this dude on Tom Bayou show talk about simulation theory. Indian dude, hella cool, instantly vibed with him. Listened to him on Joe Rogan as well, talking about simulation theory, the Mandela effect, and how it's just more likely that this is a simulation. Now, how we got here is the big questions. How we got here and what put us here are the big questions about this simulation, and we're gonna get to a few of them in this video. But essentially, he said, like, if you roll a die, one die has 6 sides. If you roll that, then you know that there's a probability, like a 1 in 6 chance that you're gonna land on one out of these 6 numbers. But for probability to be a thing, it implies, I'll put the clip right here.
And so the probability of each of those futures would be 1 out of 6 in this case. But how would you know that if you haven't actually run it multiple times? So probability by itself implies that there is some amount of repetition going on from which you can make the conclusion that this is a probability. That begins to look like a simulated multiverse.
So I instantly just thought, yeah, that is reincarnation. I actually commented this shit. I said, that's reincarnation. Everything else stems from that. Because I also had another thought. I'm gonna just start telling y'all how these streams come together. I was thinking about Alex Hermosi, thinking about his mindset toward money and just life. And if he was to even have a conversation with me and we was to go even slightly deep, we would ultimately get to existential questions, and then his question will ultimately be, but why does it matter? Then I would say, because do you want to reincarnate back here potentially? And then that is the main question, because out of all of the money, the pleasure pursuits, the grind and the willpower and all the things that you can do and all the things that you attract in this world, and we alchemy, mental transmutation, emotional transmutation, feel better, do more, be happier, work out, exercise, get money, become a millionaire, become famous, make music, create art. All of these things that we're inspired to do here in America because we got the option to do it. And it's kind of just ignoring all of the other side effects of living in these current times that we're living in. But, all of that shit is cool, good, and dandy. And I fuck with it and vibe with it, participate with it all too. But this was a calling. This was a purpose. I was put here on this planet to share this information with y'all. So when I first really came across it, first coming across psychedelics, coming to the internet with that information before I met my main 2 speakers in life and just flooded my brain with their content times 10 to dispense it back to the world, mostly to like make sure I'm doing it right, make sure I don't got no holes in what I'm saying. But then it just starts to dawn on a person, the more you follow a path, like this is what you're born here to do. This is what you're born here to say. So that's why it's easy for me now, modern day, as opposed to a year ago, to tell y'all that money ain't everything. And that shit is the blockage to freedom on this planet. And it is the manipulation on this planet. And it keeps this fucking matrix wheel going because people are paid to do things, to do immoral actions, police and military. And at the same time, we benefit from the money system too. And we benefit from their immoral actions. When I say immoral, I mean assault, rape, theft, trespassing, coercion, killing, deception, violence, all of the shit that goes on behind the scenes that we don't see on TV, that we're not gonna hear about and that's not promoted to the world. But yeah, violence is the name of the game, you know what I'm saying? Andrew Tate would say that as well. And yeah, it's real shit. It's like we live relatively peaceful because we're living on the backs of violence. But if it wasn't for the violence, then we would be living hunting. We would be fighting animals or just fighting more violent and ruthlessly. But I'm just at a point personally, I can't deny the fact that I know how to solve world peace. I know how the shit can be put into place. You just got to teach natural law. People got to know the difference between right and wrong behavior. And ultimately, look up Mark Passio, M-A-R-K space P-A-S-S-I-O. But me, I'm here to balance y'all out. I'm here to really get y'all to weigh the questions that only you can know, man. These bugs want to get in my book bag, y'all. They want it. They want it. They want it. I'm not going to give it to them. Can't do it. I just can't go. But the real questions, y'all, the real debates that only you can answer, the ones that only you were born with, we all got our own equation. We all got our own reality and choices that led us to right where we are right now in this exact moment. And that can be heavy for a lot of people to think about, taking that accountability, taking that acceptance, but it's all you can do to free and cure your mind. No matter how much money you got in your bank account, no matter what boyfriend or girlfriend you got, no matter what kind of family life you got, no matter what kind of car you got, it's like once you just start to really look at your life and accept and heal from the things in the past, and then ask these questions, do I want to reincarnate back on Earth? I'm not sure. Okay, well, let's draw a fucking Venn diagram. You got circle over here, reincarnate. You got circle over here, exit the cycles of reincarnation. And right in the middle, right in the motherfucking middle, you have you. Because we're in this shit now, so we kind of don't even have an astral projection, and dreams and thoughts is all really evidence that there's something more to this. It's evidence that we are higher, we're higher awareness, we're plugged into something bigger and expansive. But from our limited perspectives here on Earth in the 3D, it's almost as if like we can't conceptualize nothing more than this. So it's really about taking a gamble with the afterlife. And most people just choose a religion for a cop-out. They choose God, heaven, the idea to go sit with the Lord and, you know, give up all of their own responsibility of thought. So in this life, they just pray, worship, bow down, and ultimately live in fear of God. But imagine if God trapped us as souls down into this physical incarnation. Story of Adam and Eve goes somewhere along those lines, and so much other Gnostic text and theories. I only bring it to y'all because it's just theories. If you looking around at all the entertainers and news and media and Instagram people, TikTok influencers, everything going on, streamers, go on Twitter and looking at all the fights and porn, if you are sucked away into this world, then you will never come to these conclusions within your mind to, I guess, see the debauchery just take place and understand that it's a continuous chaotic cycle of people brainwashed and mind controlled to react and rage out, fall in line with politics, and people to slut shame and for people to be sluts. I think I definitely want to actually talk about that shit because we don't own nobody's body. You know, what a person does with their body and what they choose to show to the internet, bust it all the way open and do whatever the fuck for money, that is all on them. And it provides good source of joy and entertainment to a lot of people on this world. It's a fucking feeding cycle. It's a feedback loop. So, you know, when you get into that mindset, that thought process, you got the other end of it, the Puritans. And this is essentially the people that are not doing shadow work. And I'm not gonna let like the sexual deviants and sexual liberated people off the hook, because you can't expect people to vibe with your lifestyle. Shout out to the ones that don't and is like super free, but to the ones that's on the fence, even young ladies in this world that post their body on Instagram or like you just have to know that podcasters, men, people are going to say, women shouldn't be doing that. She need to cover up, but queen don't do that. It's like, okay, but what would a goddess do? What would a god do? How would he carry himself in his human experience? Will he give a fuck what you saying and what you thinking? No. So that is neo-puritanical Christian programming that is like, when I think about how deeply that shit is injected into our minds and subconsciously, because ultimately we like to control people. Like I got nieces and young women, young girls in my family, and I don't want them to grow up and be like what we see on the internet. I don't want them to attract the type of men that is gonna be after them. But then sometimes you just gotta realize that that is the game of life. You just accept that everybody has their path. And it's not up to us to stop somebody's path. It's not up to us to, you know, fucking... See, they got their path stopped, but it wasn't up to me to stop their path. They found another path. So it's like a person could be born to be a quote-unquote hoe or slut. Then a person could be born to be a quote-unquote preacher that shames the hoe and the slut and tells them not to have as much sex. And that's all Aleister Crowley was about, sex magic. So all of this witchcraft, all of this power, all of this, you know thyself, all of this energy, that it ultimately stems under one term, and that is the occult. And life is just ones and zeros, masculine and feminine, number codings. Everything after that is kind of just added on. It's like the active and the passive, black, white, yin, yang, sun, moon. So yeah, I think that's one of the first steps that we can all make is, of course, like we may not want our daughters and nieces and sisters to grow up and be quote unquote extremely promiscuous. But at the same time, just as men, as young men, as anybody watching, it's like you want to tackle that in your mind before it becomes a problem that you just having with yourself and life. Same thing with women that's mad at a man that just want to fuck a bunch of girls, just don't want to commit or be tied down. It's like, that's his human experience. That's what he chooses to do with his life, his body. So you ultimately want to focus on yourself, man. Ultimately want to focus on yourself. The sad thing about the internet is people like tease and make fun. Ah, shit, I do it too in my rap. Goddamn. I'm not a walking contradiction, actually. I'm a walking paradox, and I prefer that over being a contradiction, because it's like, you know, I give y'all the real shit in these videos, and I flex and talk my shit in my music, and that's just what it is. But ultimately, it's all about being a stronger, better, faster, top-notch vampire on this planet. And if y'all fucking with me right now, modern day, and if you listen this far into the video, then that's where we edging to, because it's like, along with the, oh yeah, the fucking reptilian energy of this world, fight, flight, freeze, fuck, you want to be active and ready on all fronts, on all levels, to fight and defend yourself, rather with weaponry, physically being conditioned, having your body right, fight, flight, being able to run away from intruders, from predators, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if it's a gang of 10 niggas trying to jump you, it's best to flee, especially if you're in the UK. And if you're in Chicago, then you really need to just be vigilant and observant, because goddamn, the shit that I be seeing on Twitter, man, they took this dude, bro, took this black dude. First off, his body was already scraped up and bloody when the video started, stomping him, pistol whipping him, stripped him down, told him strip and they told him to take his underwear off. He didn't do it. Nigga had his pants halfway down to his knees, and they told him run before I smoke your ass. Nigga look like he's probably 17 years old. Like, this shit is so brutal and ruthless. Talk to y'all about keeping a gun on y'all, keeping a knife, brass knuckles, tasers, all type of protective equipment. If you choose not to, if you choose to just walk with the protection of the Lord, go for it. But that's not gonna stop somebody's gun. It ain't gonna stop my gun. But if you had a gun, you could stop me with a gun. So, and I ain't here to try to kill you. I'm here to protect you and arm you. But I'm just saying, like, my gun work. A lot of other niggas' guns work too. But the idea of prayer and God's protection don't seem to always work for people, especially not the Palestinians. That didn't work against the Israelis' missile strikes. So, you know, the game of life, y'all, the game of... Look how I venture off. Look how I venture off, y'all. How applying ancient thought to modern times, goddamn. It's like, sometimes I know it's a lot of things I don't talk to y'all about that I know I need to kind of catch up on, which is like relationship shit for men and women that's following me, and also just self-protection shit, because that's kind of what life comes down to, self-protection. And for one, if you a man, ain't no woman gonna want to be with you. Fuck the money. If you can't protect her, if you ain't a dominant, strong presence, she ain't gonna want to be with you. Then the money situation comes after that. And then same thing for women. If you don't look good, then the man ain't gonna want to be with you. The mental shit comes after that. So you want to at least get your body right in whatever way, shape, or form to attract who you're trying to attract, men and women. You know, you're blessed and born with the face that you have, but I'll tell you the cheat code to become prettier for men and women. Think more positive, constructive, beautiful thoughts about yourself. Self-deification. No matter how you look, no matter what you look like, because y'all see on the internet all the time, and this should be inspiring me. When I see niggas looking like whatever, rich and famous and popular, I'm like, okay, if they can do it, then I'm just still doing something wrong. And people just not vibing and fully fucking with me for some reason, but that's all cool, because I'm trying to mend and sew up all of the loose ends within my content, within my delivery, within what I'm trying to help y'all with on this planet. But, you know, applying ancient thoughts to modern time. One of the biggest is ultimately the law of polarity. And when you really break that down into its simplest form, it's that we're in duality right now as souls having a human experience in the flesh, in the physical. So the opposite pole of that is spiritual, is infinite. But right now we're limited into this bounded aspect of 3D physical existence and incarnation. So yeah, and then the rules and laws of being bounded in physical incarnation is that there's always going to be somebody to argue. Is all truths are but half truths. Don't just fall for one side of the truth. Observe the other side of the truth. Duality, polarity, the laws of rhythm, how everything flows. Your emotions is gonna flow. People's emotions towards you is gonna flow. Citizens condemn until you satisfy their love again. Don't doubt it. Bet on it. Bet your house on it. The law of gender, being one of the most important that I was definitely touching on at an earlier time in my channel, but I'm gonna wrap back around to it now because I realized one thing, y'all. I mentioned the Baphomet frequency, and that is essentially all about balance, enlightenment, understanding of the androgyny that we all are and we all possess as humans on this planet. No, rather you male or female, you got left brain, right brain. You got feminine, quote unquote, feminine or passive, soft tendencies. You got hard, masculine, quote unquote, attack or defense tendencies. Hard, masculine, aggressive tendencies. You got peaceful, compassionate, loving tendencies. You got aggressive, hostile, shadow, anger tendencies. That can be looked at as your masculine and your feminine, your man and your woman, your yin and your yang. But breaking that down to a further aspect will really help y'all, because as souls having a human experience, we're androgynous. If we die and come back and be reincarnated, we could easily be a man or woman. We could easily be the exact opposite gender. So yeah, and that is good. That's a good awareness, because right now you just have a certain type of private part, and then you're labeled a man or woman, male or female. Then you're programmed to fall into the societal roles. But so that leads us into the LGBTQ community, which I can speak on a little bit. It's Pride Month. It's Gemini season. I believe that they started that shit on Pride Month, and of course, in June, and on Gemini season, because for one, it's just a split. It's the split psyche. All of us have a sexuality, but the Pride and LGBTQ people just go to a level where they identify with it, and that's what they want to be identified with: their sexuality, their pleasure. And then they're ultimately just a total opposite polarity of the Puritan Christians that are here to be pure and really just value life. That's what it comes down to, is valuing life, and is valuing the essence and the divinity of life, which is really just the belief system, because there's a lot of evidence that shows that this shit is a vampiric cesspool, and that the LGBTQs is on to something. But I would just caution y'all, just like I'm cautioning the porn stars and sexual promiscuous people and hoes on Instagram that want to show their cleavage. It's like, you just must know that an older man or a dad or this or that, a cousin, a brother, is going to feel a way toward it. And then also you're going to attract a certain type of man. I know I've mentioned this before in videos, but that's the thing. We all attract what we attract from who we are and what we do. But if you're not aware of it, then ooh. Same thing with my niggas, man. If you gonna be a nigga that's posting your body, you gonna get bitches that only see you as a source of meat, only see you as a source of entertainment, and maybe even a source of money to use and take on expensive dates. Women are extremely manipulative because they can put on a social mask better than anything, better than kids and men. Women wear the social mask the best. And ultimately, for my men that's watching, arming yourself with this occult information and accepting all of these principles, philosophies, and thought processes I've laid out in this video will help you align better on that frequency and stop you from getting played as much, or stop you from getting manipulated, dragged around by women and they pussy. Because ultimately it's like they dangle that over you, and they know the power that they have from that. So it's like, and it's their essence, but they're no different from you. They're just like you, just different polarity. So yeah, man, you want to understand these things that'll help you accept life and help you accept the ups and downs to it. You know, the arguments, the debates, the fights, the back and forths that come with people just being in disagreement, because none of us is in the same reality. Yeah, man. But then that's where it comes to this whole game of like, do I really ever want to reincarnate back into this? Because even for me, modern day, it's starting to feel as if like, yo, I've been here before, I've done this shit before, and I got trapped back into this. I got trapped back into this thing of like desire and pursuit and like wanting. And it's like, damn, where did this come from? You know, how were we born? Even if you do have a baby, if you have kids yourself, they just gonna ultimately one day have to come to these questions and conclusions. So it's heavy, y'all. It's deep. I want to keep it real with all of my followers, all of my people. But before I end this video, I just want to ask one thing from y'all. Take 3 deep breaths. And when you done watching this video, stretch. And be grateful for the things that you have and the things that you can manifest and do once you choose to flip the switch in your mind. With that being said, I love y'all. Stay godlike.